want a peace. The problem isn't the protests, it's what they're protesting. It goes against what our country is funding. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. When I was 7, I learned a lesson from Cuban Eazy-E. What was it again? Oh yeah, fuck the police. Actors and badges protecting property in a system that was designed by white supremacy. But the people are in the streets. You can pay off Meta, you can't pay off me. Politicians who serve by any means. APAC, Kofi, and all the companies. You see, we sell fear around the land of the free. But this generation here is about to cut the strings. You can ban TikTok, take us out the algorithm, but it's too late. We've seen the truth, we bear witness. Seen the rubble of buildings, the mothers and the children, and all the men that you murdered. And then we see how you spin it. Who gets the right to defend and who gets the right of resistance? It's always been about dollars and the color of your pigment. But white supremacy is finally on blast. Screaming free Palestine to their homeland. We see the lies and I'm claiming it's anti-Semitic. You know, I'll just play the whole song. You know, like,
already.
I'm gonna play the whole song because it's definitely one relevant. And two, we need more artists that are willing to say that shit. Like honestly. So hey, Shawn, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, not our typical day, but we're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it Tuesday because what the hell is going on?
A whole lot going on, Jamaica. It's a whole lot. We're gonna get into it. Everything from the renewed bombings in Palestine to the officers being, brutal, state actors in our state prisons, the ineffectiveness of our state government and our federal government, to the acquiescence of so-called freedom fighters on the Democratic side of things, to the agenda of Donald Trump, and on it goes, to ineffective leadership across the board, whether it's in the spaces I just mentioned, or we're talking about grassroots, so-called grassroots organizations on the ground. There's a lot that needs to be discussed, and a lot of things need to be changed. And reason why we having this conversation because we fed up with all the bullshit in the first place.
So over it, so completely done. Good evening, Amira, Sadir, anyone else that's watching right now or checks us out later. Yeah. There's definitely a lot to talk about on this Tuesday, and probably going to be some more shit when we come back for Focus Friday.
You ain't lying. We got more because, I mean, it feels like it's every day. Something's different happening every day, right?
Every day. Which
is kind of, some of it is really intentional. Some of it is part and parcel of like sliding into fascism and dictatorship. And a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed with what they're seeing, not really knowing what they can do, kind of like just going along. And like some of our leaders are just kind of do the same things that landed us in the same position in the first place. What do you do when the other side is not following the rules?
So where should we start? Because you listed like a whole bunch of shit, right? Because we're talking about it Tuesday. What the hell is going on? Palestine, Black Lives Matter, behind the wall, elected officials, leaders, they ain't leading shit.
Yeah.
Where should we even begin with our new talk about it Tuesday? What the hell is going on?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel like a scene. One of them Spike Lee movies, man, Do the Right Thing, where he was like, wake up. Like, and the reality is, for me, all of those things in the context of today matter, and it's like created this existential crisis that we're asleep at the wheel at, right? Literally, like we kind of already knew what was happening in Gaza was going to happen based on all the conversations that was coming out in the news and what we were seeing on the ground from reports from people that are in Gaza. We already kind of understood from the very beginnings, right after Robert Brooks was murdered, that, when Governor Hochul came out and said that the officers would be fired, and that was the extent of what she said at the time. We already kind of knew with the leadership in some organizations going back to redo the same things that we've been doing, as opposed to like really, really, really addressing. Yay! There you go. That's how you break it up.
Like a shirtless Roman come running. Like that's just what we have going on. Oh my God! Because your home office ain't your own. It's not yours.
Ain't your home office. That's his office too, right?
Ain't your home office.
But just sliding back into it really like quickly. Like, so these things came into being by the initiative of people that were willing to go above and beyond what we quote unquote call laws, or what we quote unquote like call etiquette, etc. They're willing to take power in any way that they can. They're willing to the vigilante idea of this, which is America, as old as John Wayne and the stories they told us about how this country was conquered, right? Um, the importance of this conversation, Jamaica, really comes down to the idea of like, what are we going to do, right? How do we get people involved? There's several rallies coming up in the next few days. March 23rd, be at the Capitol with all of us at 2 o'clock. I'm just going to say it again. It'll be on our pages, all of that. March 23rd, be there. But there's other rallies that are happening, right, in the
Yes.
community, and people are coming together. People are voicing their frustration. But we need direction. We need direction. We need direction. I say it 3 times because we need direction for the fourth time.
It
What
doesn't work
exactly are we doing? What can we do about it?
it doesn't work like Beetlejuice. It's not like if you say it three
Oh
times.
man, why not? Oh shoot, it
But
might.
here's what I want you to think about, Shawn. You already said it. Is
Mhm.
wake up.
Yeah.
That is the rallying cry. That's the one.
Mhm.
That's the one, because too many folks are sleeping and being asleep in different ways, right? There's the history of the word woke and where it came from, and it came, of course, from the racism that was happening and how Black folks had to pay attention,
Mhm.
had to stay woke,
No, don't go to sleep. We
aware
say
of
yeah,
their
that's right.
surroundings,
Yeah.
because you never know when the lynching was coming.
Mhm.
You didn't know when the KKK was going to burn a cross on your lawn. You knew which sundown towns were the sundown towns and not to be in the sundown town at sundown. You
Mhm.
had to stay awake, and wake up absolutely is the rallying cry. That might be, remember you and I were talking about how we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, that's
How we're
right.
gonna make folks understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wake up. Wake the fuck up. It's
Mhm.
not going away. It's not getting any different. Y'all see this Palestinian flag that's behind us, right? Free Palestine. I said it. I'm going to say it 1,000 times again, just like our Black ancestors did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Free Palestine.
Yeah.
And in this moment, we've got to recognize how all this shit is connected. It's not disjointed. It's not free Palestine over here and save our brothers and sisters behind the wall over here. And we need economic justice and healthcare over here. That's just all connected. It's the
Yeah.
same people making decisions about whose bodies have value and who's disposable and how they're spending our resources and our labor to support themselves.
Yeah. So how about we work it this way?
Okay.
Right. Let's start from the top and just work our way back down to a local level. So that's federal, state, and then
All right.
local city of Schenectady. And what we've seen from Donald Trump and his administration and all the other people that kind of support it or at least turn a blind eye to it. Obviously, we just mentioned what's happening in Gaza. We didn't mention what's happening in the West Bank, which is on its way to being another Gaza in some ways.
Palestine,
Uh,
just Palestine. We should just say Palestine.
So we've had, I believe the numbers are over 500 people killed overnight last night, and renewed airstrikes from Israel. Those bombs, that strategy, that surveillance, the satellite coverage, or the intel is coming from the U.S. government and other partners as well, but mainly from the U.S. government. We're the more staunchest reporters. U.S. government also attacked Yemen. Killed. I don't know what the number of people killed there are. There's a ton of people killed there, and the reason why that like Yemen even got involved, and Houthi specifically, was about what's happening in Gaza. That we were going to disrupt, the normal flow of business through this corridor to which we have
Yep.
access to until you end the siege on Gaza. Currently, Gaza is now they're cut off from all access for food, medicine, and other resources to help them in this time of crisis. They already been through a hell of a crisis. More than 60 plus thousand people have been killed there. The Gaza have been leveled north all the way to the south, and that is continuing to happen now, right? Other news, just 200 plus Venezuelans were shipped from the United States, were captured and shipped in chains on a plane to El Salvador. Venezuelans that they were saying were gang members without due process were shipped to El Salvador. Where we don't know who they are. There's no names. There's no whatever. No, they're just gone in El Salvador to an El Salvadorian prison. And if you watch the promotional video that was shared all over social media, and in some news, you would have seen these men in chains, bent over, being hauled off to be piled in a group before being sent to cells. Jamaica,
Yeah.
captured, captured in one place, chained and shipped to another country, to where they were held and then grouped together and then placed in individual cells where they're going to work, right? Because Venezuela is currently facing a civil war right now. They can't just be shipped back to Venezuela. At least that's what they're saying. They're going to work there. What does that sound like? What does that sound like? Sounds like the history of America and its enslavement of people against their will. Like we don't know what we like. There's a whole lot to the story that we don't know about, but we know that Trump violated the law. A judge had blocked the order, and he decided to say to hell with the order. The judge had actually ordered the planes to turn around while they were in the air. Put an order out. They got to the plane for them to turn around. They did not, and this is not the only violation violation of court law that President Trump and his administration has done. It is one of the clearest examples of a sliding into a dictatorship, of a sliding into fascism, of a sliding into tyranny, and that's happening just this week. Not to mention everything else that happened.
Right.
So those are two pieces. I mean, we can talk about the tax thing. We can talk about all of these other things that are going to impact all of y'all's wallet.
Right. The federal workers that are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
And so many different things happening everywhere, including in my house.
Hey man, he's making it live. He's not playing. But I can run down a couple of few more of the federal things on the domestic level. Where are we at? Let's see. Escalation in Gaza, domestic challenges in the United States. So we can talk about the tariffs and aggressive trade policy. We can talk about the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Acts that aim to stimulate growth but risk significantly increasing the federal deficit. Right? In New York, the prison system faces turmoil and correctional officers strike. But 2,000 people have been fired by Governor Hochul. We're in a situation right now where those jobs aren't easily replaced, and the issue with harm to the people that are inside that vulnerable population is something that's still in existence today and is still really relevant. Not to mention the people that have already died because of the strike, right? So we have this tyranny, developing on a federal level. We also have the things happening on the state level with the brutality happening with people that are incarcerated. We can talk about, there's so many other things to talk about in the state itself, but just what's in the highlight right now, what is the hot topic, so to speak, is what's happening in New York State prisons, and our inability to hold anyone accountable for the things that have happened. They've charged those 14 officers that murdered Robert Brooks or had a hand in murdering Robert Brooks. But the officers that walked off the job and people died because of their neglect and because of their absence, couldn't get medicine, couldn't get food, etc. There's no one being held accountable. We said this already. They're getting paid more, and they're going to suspend the humane alternatives, the long-term confinement, the HALT Act, in order to have some approach to safety for officers or address some concerns about safety with officers. And the thing is, the officers have concern for safety, but the people that are incarcerated there are the ones that are being killed, the ones that are being brutalized. You can't make it make sense.
This is America. There's a whole song about it, Shawn. There's several songs about it, that whether it's the federal government or the state government, we have a governor who says she's strongly against Trump and she wants to hire, the workers into New York that got fired because of the federal government, when in reality, her actions show that she's more aligned with Trump than she is against. Because she very clearly shows that just like the federal administration, the current administration has decided which human beings have value and who doesn't, so has Kathy Hochul. She said very clearly, you mentioned, you're going to fire people who you just witnessed brutally lynch and murder a man.
Yeah.
Your first thought that they should be fired. And I've said it before, but it's worth comparison again, when it was a white CEO of the healthcare industry who was murdered, she wanted to bend over backwards. That person needed to be hunted down. They need to be arrested. The full weight of the law against them. And that those CEOs should have their own private 911 line. Because one of them was murdered. She has a full history of individuals losing their lives either due to neglect or direct action in jails and prisons. She doesn't have a 911 call for them.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, and that's the thing, right? So let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it Tuesday, right? So for me, I feel like we've been in the position of pointing out the hypocrisy, and the imbalance, the difference of treatment between whether you're black or you're white. We talked about it January 6th, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. Like we talked about it forever. George Zimmerman, right? Tamir Rice. Like if this person was white, it would have been different. We know this already. We know this shit. We've been knowing this shit. My thing is, at what point are we going to go from knowing to a type of action that allows us to really get to the changes that we need? Because if we stick into the status quo, if we stick into the movement in the way it currently exists and is constituted with the leaders that are already in it, right? Like, where's our young? Like, I feel like this is why we on some talk about shit, because I'm like, we've been doing this time and time again, and this has been existence time and time again. And like, there's some things that have worked, and there's some things that haven't worked. What do we need to do different now? Seriously, like, what has to happen now? I think, and if I can answer my own question, if
Answer your own question,
right? I feel like we need new leadership across the board. We need new leadership, and that's on the federal level, that's on the state level, that's on the local level, that's on the grassroots organizing level. Like all of these nonprofits, we need new leadership, we need new direction, we need new guidance, and we need to show up as a community to demand, not a demand to get for changes to happen, not just yell, shout, and scream, but really have some teeth behind that, meaning real power. And this is what we need the people to do. We need a coalition, right? We need to go back to the Fred Hampton days, right? It'd be different today in some ways, but we need a broad coalition to understand that we are really in this shit together, and that there's more and more money, even from the era of Fred Hampton in the 60s and 70s when he died in 71. There's more money siphoned to the top, right, of our country, and the wealth is more in the hands of fewer people than has ever been, right, in this country, and we're all suffering for it. So, like, why are we talking about certain things versus talking about the tyrannies coming down and all the way that's going to pressure? I have no idea. I think people are just more comfortable with what they've always done, as opposed to like, yo, we got to really shake this thing up. If you're not doing what we asked you to do, if you're not doing what's best for the people, you out of here. Absolutely. Right? You out of here. We're going to vote you out. We're going to run our own candidates. We're going to form our own communities. We're going to protect us, that we keep us safe. Was the mantra for years. We need to really do that. It can't just be a slogan at a rally. Right?
So we need folks to wake up and show up. We need folks to wake up and show up. Yeah. Because the reason why the Black Panther Party was such a threat, the reason why Malcolm X was such a threat, was that unity across divisions, right? The United States intentionally created divisions. The founding of this country was all about division. Everyone having a different label, everyone having a different title, deciding who was free and who wasn't. Yeah. A world where everyone is untitled and free, I'm just saying, is a world that is dangerous to those that hold power. That's because they don't have power anymore. They'll actually have to deal with the idea of an actual full democracy where people are united and looking for their best self-interests that reflect about that community mindset. Hey, we're working together. How can all of us actually have good lives and food and healthcare and I don't know, free healthcare like they have in the state of Israel that is funded by the United States?
Think about that.
Right?
Think about that. Yeah.
But we should keep saying, I support Israel killing Palestinians.
I support a genocide.
I support a genocide so that Israelis can have free healthcare and free housing, and anyone that says that they're Jewish and supports Zionism specifically, can go to Israel and support the murder of Palestinians and to unhouse them and all those things. And the same thing here in the US. That individuals who are not the right skin tone, that don't have the right religion, that don't have the right politics, will be snatched from the streets, and sent to some type of cage, either in the US or someplace else.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we're dealing with, because not enough of us has yet woken up and showed up.
Yeah.
And the next chance they have is Sunday, March 23rd, because we can't say it enough times. Sunday, March 23rd at the state capitol at 2 p.m. If you believe in humanity for everyone, if you believe in humanity for all of us, then you need to show up at the Capitol, New York State Capitol, Albany, 2 o'clock on Sunday. It's really not that difficult. COs had how many people at their rally? Hundreds?
Yeah.
Hundreds of people?
Yeah.
Like, just saying.
I mean, it was
no.
a lot of folks there.
It was a lot of folks
I
that
don't
were
know if it was
saying
500, 400, whatever it was a lot of people there.
they were the people that need to be concerned with.
Yeah.
And they are releasing videos. They're releasing videos from different facilities of acts of violence against corrections officers as a part of a campaign to persuade us to say, fuck that, leave them all in there, and treat them however you're going to treat them.
Yeah, it's old news. It's old news. I mean, that kind of playbook is old. It's been doing it forever. This is where we get into the conversation about, oh, well, they wouldn't have did it if it was this, and they wouldn't have did it if it was that. The murder of Robert Brooks, the murder of Messiah, right?
Yep.
Like all of it. Yeah, they always come up with a narrative and a justification. And remember, the rules is not for everybody. The rules is for the poor. The rules is for the powerless. The rules is to keep us in chains. And if you have a right to be here in this country, you don't have to. This goes, man. Look, this goes all the way back to the Dred Scott decision, right? Like that has been overturned since then, but in reality, is still in existence today. There is no rule or law to which a white man, that for a black man that a white man has to respect or honor, right? So when it comes to life laws, now there are instances where that's not true. I don't want to overgeneralize, but in a broader sense, we see the outcomes in the country, we see the outcomes in the state. The audacity of officers thinking to put on a strike and claim that they're in fear of their own lives while being the cause of brutality and murder on video camera, right? I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about what this country is about and what people want to believe. And we keep like walking through these tropes. And I for one am sick of having the same exact conversation. I'm really looking for the change that needs to happen. And I see someone named Figurebucks in the chat. He says, I agree. What kind of action is that? You tell me, brother, what kind of action is that? I've heard all kinds of actions from different folks in the community.
There's a history that we have to, and we do this, right? We pay attention and we learn our history, and we share that information with folks. And it's the part that keeps getting overlooked. The civil rights era was not one action or one day.
Yeah.
And that was the fucking problem we had with 2020. We were in a crisis. A whole bunch of folks showed up. Everybody's rallying, screaming in the streets. Everybody wants to come to the damn protest. And like Damani said, took the selfie, posted it on your page. I'm here for Black Lives Matter. But then when it was time to do the hard work, to sit down and send text messages or to make phone calls or to be at a planning meeting and decide what the strategy is and what tactics are we using and who are the targets and with all that type of shit that's really not fucking glamorous that you and I do all the damn time, everybody took their ass home.
Yeah.
And then said, oh, well, y'all ain't doing nothing. No, we're doing shit. You didn't want to join us for that. Because that's the shit they did back when it was Malcolm X and Martin and Ida B. Wells, and hell, Harriet Tubman didn't have a rally and free a whole bunch of slaves. It was day after day after day after day. Ida B. Wells, they burned her house down. She still was printing stories, talking about the lynchings. Every single day. It wasn't, I took a break for 3 months and I came back. One of the biggest problems we have is that many people of all types of different persuasions will show up one time, maybe 2 times, and then, I can't do this right now. it's an inconvenience. And Shawn, you've said this shit before. It's going to be an inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
The short-term inconvenience leads us to long-term solutions. There's no version. Listen, this event that's going to happen on Sunday, it needs to fucking happen. And we need people to show up because we have to show our presence. It's not going to win the war.
That's right.
But it doesn't mean it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And everyone that comes out on Sunday needs to be showing up to say, I'm here today. Tell me what's the other thing that I can do.
Mm-hmm. We've
got some people like that. We've got some folks that are like, hey, I'm here and I want to get this done. It takes more of us. It's a 3% rule. The city of Schenectady has about 60,000 people, a little more than that. If 1,800 people from the city of Schenectady showed up consistently, said, hey, we are here. We're going to the warm weather's coming. We're just going to go to the park and that's where we're going to do our planning. And there's always going to be thousands of us showing up for every fucking thing that happens. That builds a movement. Not 10 people, not 20 people, not 50 people. That's good. And we need those people, but we need masses of people that are showing up on a consistent basis, even after the crisis is over. Mm-hmm. People think that the jail crisis, the prison crisis is over because, well, they went back to work, right? The motherfuckers that are killing people went back to work. So that means the crisis is over. Oh, and they fired 2,000 people that we don't know which ones have which records or who did what and where they're going to go now because the Albany sheriff said, hey, I would hire them if I could. No, that's a thumbs down. This shit isn't over. We can't go home. We have to keep our foot on the pedal, not on anyone's neck, but on the pedal moving forward. So the answer is we have to keep showing up. It's not everybody every day, but it is every day that somebody is showing up. And whoever you are, you figure out where the hell am I showing up and how's it happening? And yes, I'm frustrated because I have been doing this shit too long. And like I told the 8th graders in a whole bunch of schools I talked to, I want to sit down. I want my rocking chair. I want to point at the young people and go, I remember when I was just like you out in them streets and sit my ass on the porch. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to sit down, but I won't because ain't nobody else standing up.
Well, shoot, that was a powerful message there. God damn, you motivated me. Get up and do something. So look, I don't disagree with any of that. And I think that's the thing, what you just said, that frustration that you're feeling, it's not enough of us that really are feeling uncomfortable. We've gotten comfortable, with the idea of our own oppression. Right? We got comfortable with the limitations. We got comfortable with other people telling us what we should think or what we should do. We've got comfortable with not having a livable wage. We got comfortable with working 2-3 jobs to pay our rent. We got comfortable with the way the system is set up because the system is so all-encompassing, right? It checks for us to be entertained by a game or a show or whatever, while we toil our lives away, putting more money into the system that is not benefiting us, right? That is benefiting only a select few of us. That's benefiting the corporations, more importantly, and benefiting the politicians at the top. And we're still suffering, and we've gotten comfortable, and I'm saying as a society, with just being okay with that. They could give us the symbolic idea of liberty and freedom while snatching pieces of that away every single day, right? With the heavy surveillance and all that. So in my opinion, I'm like, that frustration that you feel is what's actually missing. And that was what was missing, that deep kind of frustration and that deep aggravation, what was going on, was missing in the movement. And people showed up because some people showed up because it was cool to show up. We talked about it at the very first rally of thousands in Albany. Don't just come here to take a damn selfie. Come here because you understand that this work needs to happen. But the infrastructure needed to capture that didn't necessarily exist. Some of the quote unquote leadership, and I use that word loosely, and what was happening at that time wasn't there wasn't cohesive enough for people to actually be involved in a way that would allow us to move forward. People were very selfish, but it didn't just happen in 2020. It happened in even the civil rights era and times before that. So for me, the existential crisis is alive and well. Biden is not in office, you can't just feel good. Oh, the cool Joe Biden or Clinton isn't in office. You have a guy in office right now and an administration that is clearly trying to pull all power onto itself, to make all the rules, violating laws, and clearly about benefiting themselves over the people. What are y'all going to do about it? Because Jamaica and I and a few people that are doing this, like we're a very small group of people versus with a massive machine, money, and power that's up against us. What are you going to do about it? What makes sense to you? How are you going to get involved? You can show up March 23rd. You can have your voice heard. You can have a conversation. You can listen to different ideas about what it looks like. You can show up at other rallies. You can join the movement, because it's now or never, y'all. In my opinion, it's now or never. This man ain't been in office 100 days yet. And what I would like to see for New York State to do and other surrounding states, I could talk about what can happen, what I want to see on the federal level, but before I even, because you got the Chucky Shoes and all them that are kind of on some bull, right? I feel like insulating our state as much as possible. What are our legislators going to do about it? How are they going to account for the federal dollars that are going to go missing if they don't adhere to what's happening to what Trump wants them to do? How are we going to do that?
They're not going to tax the rich.
We can tax
They're
the
not
rich,
going to tax
but
the
rich
right?
that are
Because they
so-called,
have already done that.
but the rich that are so-called New Yorkers, like we understand. How do I say this? I'm going to say the rich are the rich. Those taxes that we're talking about taxing ain't going to impact their day-to-day life and what they do, period, right?
Exactly.
Right? So
which
they
is
should be wanting to, these so-called progressive, liberal, really wealthy people, it should be their mission to be like, you know what? This is where we at. This is our home. We're going to make sure we protect us. So we want to be taxed more. We want to make sure that money is in the pocket. And we can laugh and say, oh, they would never do that. I don't know. Maybe some of them will. Point is, we need to get it done.
Do.
The point is, we need to get it done. Period. And
philanthropy exists. Right? Shawn, philanthropy exists. There are some wealthy folks that are like, hey, I want to, put my money where it's worth and all those types of things. But the overwhelming, like the numbers, the sheer numbers, it's not existing. And New York State could have already done this a long time ago. There's so many different laws and the last time the wealthy had an increase on their taxes, they didn't leave. It's New York. Yeah. This is one of the hubs of the world, right? New York City, the wealth district of the world that we're talking about. We are here in the Capital District. We're in the capital of New York State. And the fact that we don't have a presence on the regular at the Capitol, and we're worried about people busing people in from other places. Are you freaking kidding me right now? And it doesn't matter. How the hell would you know if it matters if you ain't doing it? How are you going to tell me, that doesn't work? How do you know that doesn't work? Because I'm going to tell you that someone who spent lots of years on a campaign to get our schools fully funded, and it took us out in the streets and at the Capitol and making phone calls and a lawsuit that took 7 years of my life before we got $4.2 billion that's now being threatened again because they're going to balance the budget on the backs of our babies. So yeah, I do know that the shit works. I've actually lived it. I've been through it time and time again. So I'm ready for everybody to show up. And I see the comment about we need to meet people where they're at, and we do that shit. We're at the barbershops. We're at the salons. We're going to the park. But if there's 2 people or 5 people or 10 people that are trying to go to all these different places, it's not enough people.
Yeah.
So come through,
show up, speak out, find a role. Like the fact that things are uncomfortable and all of that, but that's how change happens. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to get uncomfortable. Yes. You got to be uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable with oppression. You should be uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable with the rent being too damn high. Right? You should be uncomfortable. Not having a livable wage. You can be uncomfortable with a lot of things, and get nothing for it. Be uncomfortable for change, because it is about you. You can sit there and think and sit back on the side and think that this ain't going to impact you. That those 200 plus people that got shipped overseas, that's just them. It ain't me. Right? You can, if they can do that to them, they can do that to any one of us. You remember, there's people that
they
are like
already do
coming.
that.
They're actually permanent. The the brother that from Columbia University, he's a permanent resident. One step down from the citizen, snatched off the street, jailed, shipped to another state, and locked up with no charges as of yet. There's no charges for them to charge him.
In detention.
In detention.
And every Black person in America should already remember that's the truth that we already live. Yeah. Being snatched off the street and put in a cage based on whatever the hell they feel like they want to tell you it is. District attorneys decide every damn day what the charges are. And we know from data and statistics that they upcharge Black folks more often than they upcharge anybody else. The shit was already happening to us.
Yeah.
We should have already been upset. We should have already been in the streets instead of hearing the bullshit about, well, if they did the crime, do the time, and oh, well, they better just figure it out for themselves.
It's always like that until it impacts somebody you love or impacts you. That's just how this country is built. The Trump supporters that are now talking about they're against Trump were the same one. Like, it's because they thought it wasn't going to impact them. They thought that they was going to reap benefit from it and that it was going to hurt somebody else, and that was okay with them. That's the problem. Like, we not understanding that if this becomes our new normal, if we don't do anything about this now, and the ways that we can do something about it now, like, we're all on the table and we all food, right? So it's like, and it's been like this in a lot of ways for quite a long time. I'm not acting like this shit ain't been happening for years. Me, you talked about this, Jamaica, the generational kind of issues that we've all faced in these communities, whether in the working class, whether just being Black, whether being just different, right, from the white status quo or the white European status quo. The what is it? The WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant type of, whatever, right? The ideal American. Like, there's been pressure on you since you've been here in some ways. And especially us, we're the only people that have been enslaved in this damn country for centuries and dealing with having to fight for everything that we've ever gotten the whole time we were here, and still coming up behind in all these other categories. I don't know when the time is. I don't know what better time than right now to step up. This isn't just a Black issue. This isn't just a Muslim issue. This isn't just a Jewish or Christian issue. This isn't just a Latinx issue. This is a people issue. All of us in New York need to step up and make something happen. And that's the message. That's kind of what we want to talk about. We need to step up and show up. And if our leaders in power aren't doing the right thing, we need to get them out of power. We need to have our own leaders step up. We need to make it happen now. Because I'm telling you, if this goes down and is accepted, and it continues to be accepted and becomes a new norm, we're all on the table. And I'll see y'all later. I'm going to Mexico. I'm out of here. I'm going to Ghana. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to get a flight. I'm going to figure it out. Migrate somewhere.
Okay. with some
I ain't
mangoes.
going nowhere.
Don't forget
the Legos?
Don't forget the mangoes. Remember that you have to have mangoes wherever you it was 40 votes.
Yeah.
Remember? When I had my re-election last May, 40 votes. And I am proud to say those 40 votes were from the Schenectady Muslim community.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up. They were getting petition signatures. They were telling their friends and family, they're like, hey, Jamaica needs to get reelected. I didn't have no damn money. There was no money. The Democratic Party didn't want me reelected. The Republican Party didn't want me reelected. I'm not running on any line for anybody. It's an at-large seat that doesn't have political affiliation, but damn sure I had all the smoke and all the heat from everybody. 40 votes. That's like a one apartment building in Schenectady. You know what I'm saying? And when people are like, oh, it doesn't matter if I do this thing, oh, our candidates are never going to win. There are people running in local elections this year, deciding how our local communities are going to spend money. Are we giving more money to the police force? Are we? The answer is yes. Do you know why? Because not enough of us fucking show up. Yeah. Damn straight. That there are more of us that believe We need to invest in our communities. That money should be going to babies, not to bombing babies. That we should have more programs and services, that we should have better paying jobs, that we should have free health care, like the state of Israel, funded in part by the United States. This shit could literally happen.
Yeah.
We've got probably a dozen folks on this call right now, right? That are paying attention, that are watching in Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever the hell you're watching from. If you actually like said, hey, you know what? I'm going to come on the 23rd and then I'm going to talk to Jamaica and or Shawn and say, what else can I do? And that you brought 5 people with you. 12 people that bring 5 friends, that's already 60 people. That's it. That's 60 people. That's organizer math. It's that corny ass shit that some people don't like that I do it. But guess what? That shit gets results. And where did I learn it from? Oh, that'd be from Black history.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that shit from Black history because the organizers that were before me, they did this. They did this. I know where I come from. I'm fully aware of how to get this shit done. And I'm not going to just sit and complain about it. I'm going to show up tired, annoyed, angry.
Yeah, no, you should. You should. We should show up. And we understand that people don't always know what they don't know, but you know something's wrong, right? It don't feel right, right? Something ain't right. Something don't make no sense. Why is it like this? I remember having this question as a younger person, like, why are things the way they are? And that question, that interrogation of yourself can lead you to some miraculous changes, some miraculous ways forward, but you have to show up. You have to show up in the moment. And I just got to tell you, Jamaica, 12 people bring 5 people. I think it's like 72 people. That's 60, but it's a good number, right? It's just a good number. We need more of that to happen.
Who wants to do the math? What's 12 times 5?
12 times 5, 60.
So what did I say?
Yeah, we forgot the 12 people that brought them.
No, I said
12 bring 5. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. That's where my mind goes. Don't worry about us. We're doing math on live right now.
Jesus, God.
I didn't mean to. You asked the question. You couldn't just accept my 72 and keep it pushing. I just want to make sure.
No, because I needed you to break it down, right? I needed you to show the work.
That is what we're doing on live right now, trying to show the work, talk you through it. You can do this, y'all. All of our lives are on the line in this sense. Our futures, our children. I talked about this not too long ago. We make this change now. If it ain't happening now, it can happen for our babies. It can happen for our grandbabies. It has to happen. This is the iteration of the fight. And don't sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody else to do it. You're a part of this work too. You have that power. And that's what really gives joy to me in Jamaica as well, is just empowering people in the way, like just showing up. Remember all the speakers that came to the rallies, they never spoke before, and they was all nervous. Now they monsters on it. You can't stop them from getting to the mic. You know what I'm saying? They can't stop them from trying to do the work. But you have to take those steps. You have to take those steps. It's uncomfortable starting something new. But get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable in the ways that's going to give you the positive change you need is what I would say.
And when it's with us, you're not alone. The trainings, the workshops, the explaining things, like it's not just, I'm not dropping you into a pot of hot water and saying, figure this shit out.
Yeah.
We know how to do this, and we share that knowledge and that information, that historical knowledge, as well as the information about the skill sets to be able to do these things. Like Shawn said, we had folks that had never spoke before. They were scared to death, and now they lead their own organizations.
That's right.
Why? Because we took the time. We didn't just say, go do this shit, go figure it out. It's, hey, listen, I'm going to talk to you and explain to you, like, here's how there are volunteers tonight that are making phone calls to invite people to Sunday who ain't never made a phone call before. And what did we do first? We got on a call together.
Yeah.
We went over the script. We talked about who the hell are we calling and why are we calling them and how does this all work and how do you get over? Like it's not the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
We're all doing this shit together, sharing the knowledge and information that we have, our different skill sets with each other, because we all can learn this shit. I'm still learning shit at 50 years old, I'm still learning things, and we have to keep learning, or we might as well just be dead.
That's right. Big shout out to everybody that jumped on the call today, seen the live, and was like, "Yo, we on." I see y'all in chat. Yeah, it was a little bit funny. I know. My brother Ghost in the building, and I know some of y'all that are on this call have shown up for a ton of stuff. All right, but like be reinvigorated. This is a moment in time, man. This is that time to make it happen. You got some ideas you want to share them. You know, we got this event happening on the 23rd. There's other events happening immediately after into April. There's opportunities to get yourself involved now, and like we can discuss. You know, we didn't even get to the local nonsense that's happening in the city of Schenectady or the
No,
local
we're going to have
nonsense
to
happening
save
in
that for
Albany.
next
We've
week.
saved that for we'll save that for next week, but it's happening. There's a primary coming up in May. There's a mayoral race, the city council mayoral race, and a city council race in Albany, city council race here in the city of Schenectady. Some opportunities to make sure that there's people in power or in positions that they're representing the voice of the people that are most neglected, underserved, and most in need. I guess that's a better way to put it. Are most in need, and it's an opportunity to have those type of folks in power. We're not sponsoring the candidate on this call, but I'm saying make the decision for yourself and show the hell up. Much love, everybody. Tom, we got to get on a call, man. We got to talk about some things.
Listen, anybody that's interested in being at Sunday, March 23rd, please, friends, it's the Friends and Family Speak Out, the bit.ly that's on your screen right now. If you can't be there, share the link with somebody else. Tell them they need to come, because I've been saying this shit. If you can't be there, who are you sending instead?
And
just because you can't be there for that day doesn't mean you're not supporting to get other people there.
And like this post. You know what the algorithm do. Like this post.
Yep.
Don't just be on here watching. Like the post. If you have all these viewers and have this many posts, like the post. Share it with your people.
We got 3 likes right now.
Yeah, exactly. It had 13 50 people on the call. Like the post. Don't be over here for nothing. We need that. We need to spread the word. We need to be involved. Make it happen, y'all. It's all of us.
That's right. It's all of us. Let's wrap it up, Shawn, because
I thought that was a dope
we got other shit to do.
It's all of us.
We gotta go.
Let's wrap it up. All right, y'all. Peace.
Everybody have a good evening. You know what we're gonna do. We're gonna rock out with a little bit of music, and we're out.
Organizing and learning and finally cutting ties with the state that's gotta rely on apartheid system to uphold and occupy and violent history been repeated for the last 75. The neck that never ended.